A little bit after 7, so why don't we kick this meeting off? Thank you all for attending this meeting. How many do we have, Matt? 40-ish or something like that?
49 right now.
Great, thank you. So we were hoping that we would be meeting in person by now, but getting a place to meet is just about impossible. All of our usual suspect locations are not open for us yet to actually meet in public in this big of a gathering. We'll keep working on it. So, but a welcome to a lot of the apprentices. I see numerous apprentices who are in the OEC class right now. So thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you find something useful out of it. So.
Cleo, let me just pop in real quick, just for the purposes of this, as we all get used to doing this again, because it's been a few months since we had a general meeting. Everybody please mute. And I know that everybody bounces between a number of different platforms, but when you want to share, please raise your hand. Either if you're on screen, we may not be able to see you. So if you can use the reactions button down at the bottom of the screen to raise your hand, raise and lower your hand, we'd appreciate it. Just keep it on mute. Otherwise we'll have an echo chamber going on. Sorry about that, Cleo. Keep going.
That's fine. Thanks. So I just have one thing. I don't know if there's a slide for me or not there. Just the one thing that it keeps being a burr under our saddle for at least the last 2.5 years is this COVID thing. The council has struggled with this over the last 2.5 years. And recently the council made there was a motion made and it passed that allows our patrollers who choose not to get vaccinated for whatever reason, to do almost all patrol activities. That includes training and patrolling at least one of the resorts. The only thing that we're restricted right now by non-vaccinated members is going into the first aid rooms. And that here in Oregon, as you all know, the Oregon Health Authority does have a permanent executive order that says that our first aid rooms are considered healthcare facilities, and so providers in a healthcare facility have to be vaccinated for COVID-19. Other than that, our patrollers and all members, hosts included, are allowed to patrol except for going into the first aid room. And Matt Ray, who the APC at Ski Bowl, has worked with Ski Patrol, the paid patrol management there, and they're going to work out some sort of a operational way for those non-vaccinated people to help out at Ski Bowl, and your help will be greatly appreciated. We're also working on a refresher for those people who are not vaccinated to attend a refresher, and Matt may have more on that from that a little bit later. But we're going to try to keep up everybody's credentials. So my whole goal in this is to keep up people's credentials and to keep people within the fold of Mount Hood Ski Patrol and not lose any more people because of the situation of vaccination versus not vaccination. So any questions for me on that topic? Courtney, I see your hand up.
My hand was from a while ago. I just wanted to let folks know, in case they didn't notice, that this meeting is being recorded. That's something that folks need to know about. And that was what my hand was up for, but okay. Thank you, Theo.
Thank you. So there's just one more thing that I want to touch on, and then we'll go on with the rest of the meeting. At the council meeting last time we met, I guess it was just a week ago, we decided we want to try to have a holiday party in December. Instead of a general meeting, we'd have a holiday party. That would be on December 12th, Monday. And I'm looking for someone who would be willing to organize that. You'd have to find a venue, work with a venue to bring our people in, work out some sort of a food arrangement, figure out how much it's going to cost. So is there anyone who would like to take on that job? I offered this to all the council members. We all have plenty to do already, plenty on our plate. So we're looking for somebody else for the opportunity to take on a little bit of a leadership role and help Mount Hood Ski Patrol do this Christmas party or a winter kind of a party. So if you want to raise your hand right now or get in touch with me, I appreciate it. Okay, any questions on the COVID update? Any? Okay, going once, going twice, going three times. I'm out of here. We'll back to the other part of the agenda.
Thanks, Cleo. Again, my turn, I guess. I'll try to make this pretty quick on refreshers. We've got 2 down. Thanks to everybody who attended. Thanks to everybody on the call. There's a couple of apprentices and a couple of hosts on who are gracious enough to come and play patient. We really appreciate that. Hopefully it was a good learning experience for the apprentices. Had pretty good feedback there. We are going to hold our next one. Cleo mentioned we're going to do a supplemental for that'll be vax optional. We got a few folks from a few unvaxxed and a few vaxxed that are going to attend next Sunday. That is full. If you've got a major conflict with the other dates, please let me know. But just because of the venue and the instructor resources, we don't have the ability to make the one next Sunday a particularly big event. But following Saturday after that, the 22nd is the third and final full-scale refresher. Right now we have 43 dispatched. There might be a little bit of wobble in there because there might be a couple of patients, but we have 37 slots remaining in our final refresher. So if you have not dispatched, please do get on dispatch as quickly as possible. One thing to bear in mind, we have not had a hard and fast requirement to complete the online refresher prior to attending the in-person event. That's just because of if you haven't experienced it yourself, there's been plenty of technical difficulties in the online portion. They're now on version 3, appears to be a little bit better. But I've been seeing news reports that there are a couple of pretty consistent hangups. I know that just to borrow from Matt Ray's experience, Matt Ray got a hang up on Saturday, but the national office got back to him right away. That's education at nsp.org or Center for Learning at nsp.org, and they can get you knocked out pretty quickly. They do appear to have folks working almost 24/7 to resolve those issues. So the online refresher is required. You need to complete it. You need to email the certificate to oecrefresher@mounthoodsskipatrol.org as usual. I know that a lot of you have not received certificates. So for those of you that are still waiting to do it, you will at least get an auto-generated email that tells you that you have completed the online refresher. You may or may not get a cert. There's no real rhyme or reason to that. If you go into the Center for Learning, if you go to your completed courses, you can always access any of the certificates for the stuff that you've completed there. So you do have a pretty easy way to download the online cert. The online is going to be a requirement for returning to the Hill this winter. We're going to put a deadline on it. It's not hard and fast at this point, but I would say realistically probably no later than the Mount Hood Meadows refresher on November 20th, and it may be before that. Gina Malamphy is running the Meadows refresher. She has kindly opened up a few spaces for our patrollers. If you've got questions about a date after the 22nd, again, it's Sunday, November 20th is the Meadows refresher, and you'll need to contact Gina Malamphy because that is entirely her show. There are a few of us that are going to be instructing in it, but Gina is the instructor of record for that one. On the OEC class, welcome to the apprentices that are online. Good to see a few of you. It's been great. It's been really great having you in class and having you play patient. Hopefully it opened some folks' eyes to what applied OEC is. Got 32 apprentices right now. Classes every Tuesday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at Ida B. Wells. Eventually I'm going to stop saying the former Wilson High School, but for those of us Portlanders, it may be a little bit easier to put it in context. We always welcome anybody who wants to come and throw down, play patient, help out. That we are starting to get into some of the bigger skills now. They have finished 4 classes, so now the class is really going to accelerate. The huge vote of thanks. I think Aaron Olson is still out of town. Aaron Olson is one of the coaches and one of the first aid and physical education instructors at Ida B. Wells. He arranged the space. He's done an amazing job for us. So I really thank him It's really nice having a first-class facility, and we've got a lot of resources at our command there. But the biggest thing that we need is space. Again, like Cleo said, unfortunately, we're still in the online environment for this. For anybody who's graduated in the last couple of seasons, you didn't get a chance to see the Life Flight helicopter land. At the Tuesday class, November 8th, we're going to have a Life Flight landing on the football field at Ida B. Wells. Should be interesting to see how the neighborhood reacts. Aaron is canvassing the neighborhood, putting flyers on everybody's doors to say, you know, this is only a drill, but I anticipate that we'll probably draw a crowd. So yeah, so if you are a 20 or a 21 graduate of the OAC program and you want to, you know, get up close and personal with a helicopter, please come join us. Again, 6:30, class starts 6:30 on Tuesday nights. And then for the apprentices, but also for everybody else, we are going to have an in-town class on Saturday, November 12th. We're going to be working several really big skills, and we need help with patients for that. So if anybody would like to, volunteer, anybody would like to help out, or if anybody has a gigantic space they can use. Unfortunately, we can't use the high school. We may be able to use my building again, but I don't have confirmation of that yet. So if anybody's got a space that will fit about 50, 60 people, that'd be awesome. And then just a quick note on naloxone. I didn't notice, is HVH on the call? If you already want to speak up, maybe not.
She's not able to make it tonight, Matt. Go for it.
Okay, copy that. So for those of you that bore through this at the OAC refreshers, I'll just do sort of a high level overview. So we're in a somewhat like with O2 administration and a couple and even more a little bit like with EpiPen, the administration and treatment with naloxone or Narcan is not part of OAC 6. It isn't scheduled or it isn't codified under NSP training yet. But NSP has really issued a statement to say that, hey, you know, get in touch with your local authorities, know your local protocols, and carry some, because we now have seen, and Heather's done a great job presenting this at the refreshers, and she's personally in the business of doing pain management and addiction recovery and treatment. We have seen this massive wave of fentanyl, very high potency fentanyl, take over the opioid trade from almost completely displaced heroin. Blue pills, rainbow pills. There's a lot of options out there, mostly smoked, and because it's so potent, it is finding its way into fat tissues. So it is getting into the body in a really much more embedded way. So I can provide links to anybody who's interested, but I have found links for both the Oregon and the Washington treatment protocols. The rule is, if you've got it on you, you should call 911 first. If you see somebody experiencing an overdose, if they've obviously overdosed, or if you think that there's a good likelihood that they've overdosed, hit them with the Narcan. It's basically a nasal inhaler, like a plunger. Each of the packs come with 2 doses. I got mine. I'll talk about that in a second. 2 doses, alternate nostrils, jam it into them, and be prepared for kind of a wild ride, because what it does, for those who haven't studied it, is it basically short circuits the brain's opioid receptors and immediately kills the high. And so if they've gone unconscious, or if they're near dead, it stops the effects of the drug. And usually, as we've heard before, they will come up swinging. They will be very agitated. If they were nodding off, thinking they were having a nice high and didn't realize they were dying, you just ruined their high. So you can be prepared that they'll be quite combative. Joan Turner, I think, might be on the call. She has responded. She did really heroic work responding to an overdose case at Timberline here a few months ago. And she and 3 paid staff sat on a 16-year-old girl for almost an hour waiting for the ambulance and sheriffs to show up. So it's a big deal. Sorry, who's that?
Jim Hamilton, Matt.
Hey, Jim. Yeah, go ahead.
I fully support this. It is critical for everybody to have the Narcan. And I am aware of 4, if not 5 cases being treated by ski patrol now in the division. So we are getting it, and you need to have it. And unfortunately, you need to also consider it for your high school kids who are now being exposed to it in unprecedented ways. You made a comment about the nasal injection. You get 2 doses. The first dose you split between the nostrils, but you save the second dose for when the first dose doesn't work after 5, 6, 7 minutes. So it's not a full dose in each nostril. It's a half a dose in each nostril, with the second dose being there for backup for you. Is that your understanding, Matt? I just want to make sure that that's.
No, thanks for that, Jim. And you know, we've got, it's good to get the multiplicity of medical background and information. So Heather is working with folks that are coming in high all the time. She carries a professional pack with her. She said that because of the potency of the drug and the prevalence of it, that where some of the earlier overdose cases, and particularly something, you know, it's hard to think of heroin as a less impactful drug, but that the earlier overdose cases could be brought towards resolution with something like 4 milligrams or 8 milligrams, and that the folks on the ambulances and in the ERs are seeing cases where up to 32 milligrams can be required. So what would be, you know, potentially 4 prescriptions worth of drug into the nostrils. But that's great information about half a dose in each nostril.
Yeah, well, you want to back up so you can spread out the effect. And perhaps by the time you did your 2 doses, somebody else will come up that had more doses.
That had more doses. Yeah, that was one of the things that Heather really emphasized, is that we want to call 911 first, so that we can get medical professionals on the way, and they'll have presumably as much as they need.
Yeah.
So when we went through the first training, when Heather provided the first training, I had a little bit of time on a lunch hour, and I went into Fred Meyer, my local Fred Meyer by my office. Heather had recommended that so in many cases, your medical insurance will cover it. I'm really fortunate. I have great insurance, and so I didn't need a prescription. I filled out paperwork where you basically identify yourself and you state that you are working or existing or volunteering in a capacity where you might need it, including access to a loved one or a friend who may be or yourself at risk for overdose. And it took, I think, overnight for them to process the paperwork. So mine was great. Again, 100% paid by my insurance. Heather recommended looking at goodrx.com, either the website or the app. I looked, and that appears to be geo-fenced or geographic specific. So I was seeing prices for a prescription of naloxone not covered by insurance for between $45 and about $95 at CVS or Walgreens or Fred Meyer or just about any pharmacy. So it is available. We are recommending that if you can get a hold of it, carry it with you all the time. It should be stored. It shouldn't be stored in super cold or super hot environments. It sounds like the temperature range was something in the 60s or 70s up to something over 100. So, you know, probably if it was something inside a pack or if it was something in your radio harness, it would be pretty good. And they're small. They're fairly small. You know, the size of like maybe 4 postage stamps, wide and tall, and maybe half an inch or an inch thick. So shouldn't be too cumbersome to carry. So just wanted to get that out there. We start spreading awareness. Again, we've seen, we had Jones work on her overdose case. There was another overdose at Timberline shortly after that. We know at this point that at minimum, Timberline and Ski Bowl both have Narcan in their first aid rooms. I'm not sure about Meadows, but presumably so. I think Doc Murray's pretty well on top of it. So yeah, we just want to spread awareness, and it will, unfortunately, unquestionably, probably be part of our training as we keep going on. And if anybody's got any questions on the first aid stuff, I'm happy to respond. Otherwise, we can move down the agenda. All right. Thanks, everybody. PC Dave.
Okay, first slide. Two slides here on a recap on fall and winter training requirements. First on Cherry Vac, we've got online training that we've been doing since we started the pandemic that eliminated the classroom training that we used to do uphill. So that is completed. Both Timberline and Ski Bowl completed their online sessions, and also the on-hill training, which is required for all team members, is completed for Timberline and Ski Bowl. Meadows team members have their session coming up next month on November 19th. Okay. And then looking forward to the training that we're going to do in the next 2 months, 3 months for Abby training. Please be aware for emails that you might get from Mike Levis about your requirements for Abby updates this year. He's been doing that for the last 2 years. If you don't get your Abby training done, then you won't be eligible to train to patrol the following year until you get it done, you know, on a makeup basis. We do have a couple patrollers in that situation this year. Mike is going to be attending National Avalanche School in October, the last week of the month. He's been doing a great job running our Abby program. This is an investment for us. He's doing such a great job. He's going to use the stuff he learns in Colorado well and keep developing our Abby program. One other comment I guess I didn't put here, it occurs to me on Abby. Mike is now trading notes with the folks that run the Meadows Abby program. He's going to try to incorporate some of the material that their pros teach each other. They have a paid staff that's focused on Abby. That'll be useful material both for the patrollers we have at Ski Bowl and Timberline, but also for the patrollers especially that work in Meadows. So that will be a slight content adjustment probably this year for the refreshers that we do. Toboggan refreshers this year, we're going to try something different. We're going to have the ITs and instructors schedule days with each area team, all 12 teams. We're going to try to get it all covered by the end of January. The initial schedule has that all in the first part of January. We may spread that out a little bit. The goal is to get this all done. We had too many folks that did not get their refreshers done last year. Same as the Abby situation, there's a number of patrollers who won't be able to pull toboggans this year until they get their refreshers done. So that's something we want to get done every year. If you're a hill patroller, if you're on a team, make sure you pay attention to when the trainers are going to be there for refreshers on your team. If you're not on a team, check out some of the TESs that are scheduled or contact myself or one of the toboggan instructors, and you can do a supplementary day at one of the area teams when the instructor teams are going to be there. And the note there in blue, all patrollers must complete all required training to be current and to be on the hill. There's enough training required, specific training to do the medical work that we do and to transport injured patients that we can't have folks that aren't completing their annual training requirements on the hill working on cases. So that's going to be a lot more of a focus this year, looking at some things that were missed last year. Okay.
Dave, I see that Joel Stevens has his hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Joel.
Dave, I presume that the nuts and bolts, OET at nuts and bolts qualifies for the coming year for people.
Yeah. Every year, Nuts and Bolts has toboggan seminars. So if you attend a Nuts and Bolts seminar in June, one of the TES sessions, then you're covered for your refresher for the following year, if that makes sense. So if you attend in June 22, then your refresher is already done for the 22-23 winter season. Okay, we did a survey a couple weeks back. Thank you very much to everybody that replied. We had a 71% response rate. It's 160 responses. A lot of marketing surveys, that would be a pretty good number. It was down a little bit from last year. We had 64 people that did not respond. That doesn't mean that we go without their information. It just means that I need to contact all those people by email and figure out what their intentions are. So it is a lot more efficient for us if everybody makes sure that they get that survey filled out. It was a 1 week period last month when that was sent out. The results of the survey are, we actually have a few more active patrollers this year than last year. Just the survey responses, 138 active, including new rookies. That's team members, people that aren't on teams, Nordic patrollers, the whole group. That's just from the survey. And then there was a number of the 64 that did not respond that will also be active this year. We have 15 folks that are temporarily not patrolling. That's for medical reasons or personal reasons. That's about the same as last year. We do have 7 members that are going inactive this year. We have more new rookies coming on. So we actually have more active people now, but we still have a ways to go. And you'll see that on the next slide. So if Courtney, you can advance. Okay, so we've assigned patrollers to team rosters, and I think we got emails out to everybody that's on a team, new on a team this year, probably some of the folks on this phone call. We have a total of 124 patroller slots for associates and hill patrollers at our 3 alpine ski areas. Of those, we have 102 slots filled, which is a little better than last year. We had 96 last year. The openings primarily for hill patrollers, we're short 17 hill patrollers. We do have 11 rookies on teams, 4 at Timberline, 4 at Ski Bowl, 4 at Meadows. And you might say, wait, Dave, that makes 12. But we have one of our new rookies that's doing 2 teams. So that's why 11 rookies are covering 12 team slots. Mike Anderson?
Yeah, I didn't think Meadows took rookies. I thought you had to be on for a couple of years. I just noticed that.
Yeah, back when I joined patrol, I was told that if you're a rookie, you can't join. As a practical matter, for at least the last 3 years, Meadows has been happy to take rookies, both hill patrollers and associate patrollers. And there's a couple of our Meadows patrollers that are involved in training. And there's a couple of our Meadows hill captains that are great recruiters. So they're doing a good job pulling some of the rookies over there. There's 3 hill patrollers and 1 associate, I think, is rookies that are over at Meadows this year. And I just want to say thank you to 3 patrollers who made big commitments this year. Gretchen Stover, Glenn Anderson, Diana, Petra Miklova, all 3 of those patrollers signed up for 2 teams. All those 3 signed up for Ski Bowl teams, and then they all signed up for an additional team beyond that. So the big picture, as you can tell, if you look at the total teams list, we do need to continue recruiting strong apprentice classes to get back to the staffing level that we were at prior to the pandemic. We've got a good, strong class this year. The associates we have in this year's class will fill all of our openings if we don't lose many more people this year. But we can absorb every single hill patroller from this class, 14 hill patrollers in this year's class, and still need more for next year. So Help us out on recruiting. Tryouts obviously coming up in March like they do every year. Need everybody's help to find good candidates.
Hey,
Kevin.
Dave. Yeah, Kevin, and then Todd McDaniel.
Yep.
Yeah, David, I was just checking. Are you sure those are the only people that are on 2 teams each?
If you see others, let me know. I took a look at the teams. Oh, yes, you. Right. That's why your hand is up.
As I was last year.
Yeah, you're right. I miss Kevin. My apologies. Kevin's on also on a skee bowl team plus on Timberline D team. Thank you, Kevin. I hate to miss somebody. Todd.
Yeah, I just want to put a comment out there based upon Mike Anderson's comment. I've been on this patrol for very many years, and I've always thought that word where people say you can't go to Meadows, being a rookie, for years. And I've never seen anybody on the council show me anywhere in our bylaws or our PMP where that's so. So I would hope that we can discontinue that rhetoric of you can't go to this area until we make a statement at the council level and we make it part of our PMP or our bylaws, because that drives people away from an area they want to patrol at, and we lose them because they have to go someplace else where they really don't want to patrol. And as long as Meadows willing to take them, and we're willing to make sure that we've got them trained right so they can patrol anywhere on the mountain, we should get rid of that rhetoric.
All right, agreed. I'm at council level. I'm making that statement. And Roger has been 100% supportive, and he's brought in some good folks. You know, you guys have got some good rookies last couple of years that have been great contributors, and the folks you have starting this year are also going to be great contributors in Meadows. All right, next slide. So looking at the timeline between now and our first day on the snow, of course, first day on the snow depends on weather, but listen, at least the way it's in the calendar now. Next week, we're going to have our operations leadership meeting. It's the first time we're going to do that in person for 3 years. We're going to meet in town. It's all the hill captains, associate supervisors, the training leaders. We're going to talk about plans for this year, maybe some changes for this year, things we want to make sure the new hill captains and supervisors are aware of, and just share some thoughts before the season gets started. By November 6th, we're going to get Trooper dispatch set up. Hope a week before that, we'll get Wendy the template for each one of the areas. You know, how many patrollers on what days. I don't expect it to look a whole lot different from last year. By November 14th, the teams will have dispatched. And then on November 21st, we'll open up dispatch for all other patrollers to fill up all the other slots. Generally, those are the supplementary patroller slots. By December 1st, we should have the season passes available for all of our team members who have made a commitment, you know, that's where they get a benefit for a pass. And then December 3rd this year, that Saturday, is our first scheduled team day for, at least for Timberline and Skee Bowl, you know, and if the snow comes early, Meadows has some days scheduled about 3 weekends prior to that, but that's snow conditions dependent. But all 3 areas should be open on December 3rd if there's snow on the ground for teams dispatch. Okay, Mike.
Oh, I was just wondering why we're starting with C instead of A. Just
Well, we change it up every year so that we look at which team is closest to Christmas weekend. And we try to make sure it's not the same team every year that's getting hit with Christmas weekend. So Kat at Meadows has been thinking that through and making the calendar for Meadows every year. And then we're taking that and using the same C team days for Timberline and Skee Bowl, just adjusting the start time and end time for the calendar. And that's been working pretty well. All right, next slide. So quick update on the SPY program. It used to be called the YAP program, Ski Patrol Youth. What's different this year, the first time, I'm sure in a long time, we've occasionally had one here and there person come out of the YAP program and go into our apprentice program. I know Gavin Harvey was one of those a few years ago. But this year we have 3 apprentices in our current apprentice class that came out of the SPY program last year. All those had empty sled training while they were spies. They were all guided towards tryouts by Paul Vanderbosch. So it's a great program. That's almost 10% of our apprentice class. So Paul's going to try to keep that going, really raising the bar on training for SPY candidates. All right, last note on the SPY program. We are changing a little bit the way we do recruiting for SPY candidates. For a lot of years, we've just taken emails from any high school kids that had the gumption to send us a note. Turned out a lot of those SPY candidates were out of the West Side high schools. We had very little as far as members from the East Side or anywhere else. It was mainly West Side high schools. So Paul has been getting involved with the East Side high school ski team. It's one ski team that covers 4 high schools. He's going to be doing recruiting at their ski swap on October 29th and 30th. He's also doing some outreach to the She Jumps program. A lot of, we had, I think 25 or 30 young women, middle school age basically, that were involved. And at one training day at Timberline last year, we intend to continue that. And the girls that come out at the older end of that, I think that times out at either 15 or 16 years old, they would be candidates to go into our SPY program. So we'll see how that goes. Paul's putting some work into it. It's more work for recruiting this year, but he's had good results. And so thank you, Paul. Moving on. One thing that's going to be different this year than the last 2. The last 2 years, the council voted on having a waiver so that patrollers who were concerned about the pandemic situation could do minimum number of days, even down to 0 days, and not have it count towards their, what's in our P&P for the minimum days commitment. So we're going to go back to our normal rules this year. We're not going to have a waiver on minimum days. So as usual, the team patrollers choose, either 14 or 18 day commitment. But for the other patrollers, we're going to go back to the minimum of 8 duty days plus 2 other days. So it's no change from what we've done in the past. If you do miss, your 8-day minimum, certainly it would impact your eligibility for teams the following year, 23, 24. Depending on the situation, there may be some other issues, but I certainly would encourage everybody to try to get your 8-day minimum. That's between winter season and summer. If you're a instructing and support member, focusing on training, we have patrollers who are not on the hill or temporary not patrolling. So I'm not talking about those folks, but for the folks that are active patrollers and who intend to be on the hill. Any questions on that? Get back to me, let me know. Next slide. And a couple of last notes here. Wanted just to say thanks, Gordy Winterroud and the editor for Mark Ripke.
Mark, yeah.
I totally blanked. Sorry, Mark. We're up here 2 weeks ago on a weekday. Like a lot of the properties in government camp that are at fire danger, we're trying to get loose brush, dead branches moved out from around the property. So they hauled a whole bunch of brush out from around the Govey building, and there is a pile out front that's about 5 feet tall and 6 feet wide and 10 feet long. The outside of the Govey building, our Bowman Center, looks beautiful. And they cut back some branches. We had gone back and forth with the Forest Service to try to cut more, use the same rules that the private property owners are going to, which is called the Firewise program. We didn't get approval to do that, but we did get a lot out. Second comment, I put an email out to all patrollers today. There's an update to the skiers responsibility code, which is sort of the framework that area rules are built on, skiing rules, to ski under control, basically. The changes are good. You'll see the detail in the letter that I sent out. Be aware of that. The areas certainly expect that we understand the responsibility code. If you get into a discussion with an area manager and you're not aware that the codes have changed, or what's involved, that would not look good on Mount Hood Ski Patrol. That should be something that you're aware of and you use when you're on the hill. And then the last comment, Mike Anderson has had a couple of questions tonight. I wasn't aware that there was a separate update anywhere tonight on the Portland Marathon, but Mike did a fantastic, and correct, stop me if there's a slide farther down, I didn't see one. Mike did a fantastic job, like he did last year and years in the past, organizing a large team. I think we had 25 or 30 patrollers, mostly bike patrollers, but some at first aid stations. Raised a bunch of money for Mount Hood Ski Patrol, treated a couple of patients. And in this picture here, a bunch of our bike patrollers were riding down the street and saw Brian Hughes, who's from my apprentice class, in his Portland Police Bureau lieutenant's outfit. So they stopped and took a selfie with Brian. It was nice to see him. So that was a good day. Mike, appreciate you setting that up. Go ahead. I see you got a comment.
Oh, there were actually 33 MHSP. Two, the Stemples actually walked it with their packs. And I think we had 17 on bike, 14 in first aid stations, and 2 walking. And then, well, then I was in the conference room. So.
Yeah, raised a lot of money for MHSP, but had a lot of fun too. Did some good work. All right, that's it. I'll turn it over to whoever's next.
Mr. Joel.
Okay. First, the sweep. I'm looking for a nominating committee, and if you're interested in it, just drop me an email, a phone call, whatever works for you. I want about 4, I think minimum of 4 people on the nominating committee, preferably some folks who are a little bit on the younger side. Some of us fossils don't know all the newer patrollers so well. Secondly, Bowman Center update. We're back doing the monthly code, which will typically go out to everybody who's patrolling in the next 7 days. So if you don't get, if you're patrolling and you don't know what the code is, give me a call or a text, preferably not at 6 o'clock on Saturday morning. But if you're dispatched, you should get an email that tells you what the current code is. And that's all I got on that.
Thank you, Joel.
Okay. Most of you hopefully know that there is a national board election this year. We elect 4 new members, we elect 4 members of the board, may or may not be incumbents. And in the past, there's always been a lot of confusion about, who should we vote for? Because most out in the trenches patrollers don't really pay that much attention to who the national board is. So in an effort to educate our patrollers and all the PNWD patrollers better, the 5 RDs are going to try to attend all of the candidate forums and come up with at least recommendations for not necessarily just 4 people, but half a dozen people that we think are the best candidates. If you've been on the NSP website recently, you know that there is a candidate forum coming up this Thursday. It's at 6:30 Mountain Time, which I guess is 5:30 our time. And if you go on the NSP website, you will hopefully find a link for that. I'm not sure whether it's there today or not, but it will be. And I would encourage anybody who's interested in the national board elections to join in the forum. I don't know, I haven't been to one of these before, so I don't know how much conversation individual members will get. However, the RDs from the PNWD have worked up a list of things that are going to get presented to the candidates. So we will at least get, hopefully, some of our questions answered. And we will come back and make recommendations. But I would encourage everybody to, one, go on the national website and read the resumes and programs that the various candidates put forward. And then if you've got some time Thursday night, and there are 2 more candidate forums. Let's see, Thursday, October 13th, Thursday, October 27th, and November 9th. So you could sit down with any or all of those. Sit down with a beer and enjoy the fun. National board's a little bit more interesting right now. We just hired a new executive director for the NSP, or the board did, and hopefully the director and the national board get along well. As some of you are aware, hopefully most of you are aware, we've gone through 3 executive directors in the last 5 years. It doesn't speak too well of the mesh between the 2 of them. So I would encourage everybody to pay attention to it, see what you think. We officially have a MHSP bike patrol. Just got the notice today. Laura will be one of the patrollers who will bike patrol as primary. Either primary or secondary on it.
Excellent news. I think that was no, that was another future slide, but that's a good update. Thanks for that. Jan, how are we doing in the background there?
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Hey, thank you. I'm so sorry to have held everybody up. I apologize. Snowvana 2022 is happening once again. We are partnering with Snowvana as their nonprofit partner. This is our fundraising opportunity to sell snow park permits and to receive a donation of cash directly from the Snowvana the show owners as well. So the dates are always and will forever now be the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. They've landed on that date and that's where they'll hold. So Thursday, November 18th is the setup day for the swap, and these shifts are all on dispatch. This is very exciting to say that there are already 4 people signed up for this 1 p.m. shift on Thursday afternoon to help set up that swap. This sweat equity is what generates the cash donation from the show owners. And then the open show hours are on Friday, November 19th through Sunday, November 20th. And there are MHSP our booth is open during those hours. When the doors open on Friday, we have that first shift filled. That 3:30 shift has 8 out of 8 slots filled. Thank you so much to those who jumped on that. We have half of the 8 shifts filled for the 6 o'clock to closing shift on that Friday. Saturday is the busiest day of the show. And we're not looking quite as good there. So take a look at your calendars for Saturday, November 19th. I may have put the wrong dates in there. As I'm looking at that slide, I may have missed a day in there. Thursday is the 17th. That's the show setup swap on bullet number 3. So the first open show day is on Friday the 18th. My apologies for that. We have 4 people dispatched for the first slot, but we only have 1 out of 8 slots filled for the 3 o'clock to closing on Saturday. And that is the busiest time of the show event. So if you have time in your calendar, please help us out there. 1 person starting at 10:30 in the morning on Sunday during open show hours. That shift runs to 4 when the show closes, and then 1 person on the 4 o'clock tear down at 4 o'clock. And I'm sure that John Howard would love to have more help and not have to take down that entire swap all by himself. So if you can take a look at that, we'd appreciate it. Hillcrest, Next Adventure is donating some gift certificates to us again to raffle off. We are working on getting a button produced for the 2023 season that we can solicit donations for. Just the fact that we're back in that show and we're in good stead with the organization is a really good thing for us. Whatever we generate from snow parks is gravy on top of the donation that is being given to us by the show owners. So take a look at dispatch, take a look at your calendars and see if you can jump in.
Jan, can I just add something here?
You bet.
So, as you know, we all pay dues, and this year we reduced the dues because of the National Ski Patrol increasing dues. So these kind of events where we can get some donations really, really help us to hold down the price of dues. Believe it or not, it does cost money to run this volunteer organization. So anything that we can do like this, like these donations or selling snow park permits, really does help us to keep our dues down. Because I know that you all spend a lot of money on gear. You spend a lot of money, especially now with gas, just getting to and from the area. So whatever we can do to make money on the side, it really helps us out.
Let me add just one more thing. For those of you that are ready to purchase your snow park permit, we will not have these available, the bulk that we are purchasing, until early November. The easiest thing for you to do is to simply go to the ODOT website and purchase your snow park permit online. And if you wanted to buy from the organization to give that $5 donation, just send the $5 donation to the treasurer. That's the easiest way to get your snow park permit rather than trying to connect with us at Snowvana. I know that that's not possible for some of you. It's a very simple process. They started it 2 years ago because of the pandemic, and they're going to continue to sell them in that way. Okay, then, mountain host updates. We have about 55 hosts that are returning to active duty this season. We had a few out last year because of health or personal issues or COVID restrictions, and they're coming back. And on the same turn, we're having about 5 hosts stepping out for one reason or another. And one person that we are going to miss desperately, who is retiring from hosting, is Luther Barker. Those of you that volunteer at Timberline know Luther well. He has really been a tremendous support, in particular these last 2 years with the pandemic. He supervised a lot of shifts at Timberline to help keep us going there. So he will be sorely missed. We have 10 candidates on deck that we're interviewing for host apprentice positions. Sarah Draghi and I interviewed 4 of them on Saturday and accepted all 4 of them into the program. So we're 4 for 4 so far. We're interviewing a few more on Thursday evening and then this coming Sunday. And they will be doing an orientation day together on November 3rd. We have very strong return in all of our key leadership roles, our host director assistants to each of the 3 resorts, and our host supervisors and those individuals that have been helping with training. So we feel like we are in good stead to get the season rolling. Everything's going well so far.
Thank you, Jan. Any questions for Jan, either on Snowvana or on host program? All right, thanks very much. Laura, I see Laura on, and I think Derek's on as well, just with a DEI committee update.
Hi, can you hear me?
Gotcha, fine.
Good. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. If you don't know me, I'm a co-chair with Derek. He's here too, but I believe he's in his car driving right now. So Derek, just jump in if you have anything to add. But our announcement is that our diversity, equity, and inclusion survey is finally launching next month. So please check your email in November, and we're hoping to get the most participation that we can from everybody. It's a survey, it's basically information gathering of demographics and experiences of our patrol related to DEI. And we have been working, I think, for about 6 months with an incredibly thoughtful committee. We've worked and we've advocated really hard to make sure that our survey is professional and protects the identity of our members. So stay tuned and watch for the email. Derek, are you there, or do you have anything to add?
I'm here. I don't have anything to add. That's covers it. We're really hoping that our membership will put in the time to be thoughtful and make a contribution in another way to Mount Hood Ski Patrol.
Super, thank you both. Next up, so Joel covered the fact that we have a bike patrol now. That's very good news. Laura also, incidentally, is our inaugural bike patroller. So we now have an official title. Hopefully, eventually we'll have an official patch for her to put on her uniform. But yeah, good work all the way around. Good news. Thanks for the update, Joel. And Nordic, Captain Fairgrieve.
Hey, everyone. Well, the first good news is we've got about 20 patrollers available this year. That's good because it allows us to cover all of our obligations under our agreement with Teacup. We have our Nordic refreshers set for October 29th and 30th. I'd like to thank Steve Potter for all his hard work on that and the instructors who've agreed to teach those classes. We're currently setting up our teams, although we benefited from the survey that was done earlier. It's a little bit more oriented toward the hills, so we've got a little bit more detailed survey I'm going to send out here in the next couple of days, and we should be able to set up our teams in the next few days. As far as Teacup's concerned, those of you who are Nordic skiers as well probably know that Teacup continues to really expand its programs. They have a kind of a new leadership group that came in last year. You know, if you're a Nordic skier and you're not getting their emails, you might want to go to their website and sign up for it. They've got a brand new, you know, ski instruction trainer that's coming in. And she's quite a background, and it looks like they're going to have some great, you know, ski instruction programs for both adults and kids this year. And if you're interested in any of that, I would urge you to take a look at their website. And things are looking good at this point. That's all I got. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks very much, John. So before we do Q&A, that's the end of the official agenda, so I'm going to stop sharing. I know nobody really wants to see me, but at least I'll be able to interact with you a little bit. Just quickly on clothing committee stuff. So we're in the kind of long and torturous process of handing off inventory and production and stuff like that to Kevin, Ken Rocco, Mike Thistle, and a couple of Annie Eversmeyer has stepped up. So we're going to have, I think, a good and geographically nicely distributed clothing committee as well. For the time being, I retain all the inventory. In fact, I've got all of it in my office at Refreshers. So if anybody needs anything in the interim, if you're coming to the Refresher 2 weeks from now, or if you want to give me a shout, if you want to connect, you know, somewhere in Clackamas next Sunday when I'm down there or whatever, feel free to give me a ring. and I'm happy to oblige. Where we're at with inventory right now, and I'm sorry that I didn't prepare any slides for this. Where we're at with inventory right now is we have kind of a sparse collection of coats. I pretty repeatedly have men's large alpine coats with Hiller crosses. I still have a good selection of bike t-shirts. The good selection of long sleeve t-shirts. The short sleeve patrol t-shirts and the quarter zip red and black sweatshirts are spottily available in different sizes. So that'll be one of the design decisions that that the new committee will make when I am able to hand everything off. We've got to do a big buy. I did, fortunately, just yesterday or today, get confirmation from North Face that they do have some inventory of the same coat that we have used for patrol. It just doesn't have crosses on it. So this is the coat that we bought for that Bruce Harris, bless you, good sir. I hope you're feeling better. That Bruce had arranged for us. And so we will get those just in what's called North Face red. It's a great patrol red. Those are great jackets. So for Dave Winterling, we will get you an XL. In fact, we'll get a bunch of XLs. I'll get some more larges. So I'm going to get an appropriate selection of both women's and men's sizes in those patrol coats. I'm hoping that those arrive within the next couple of weeks. So as folks are getting ready to get back on the hill, if you need a new coat, we're going to have one for you. I will also say I was the beneficiary of the Columbia Employee Store Pass. Kind of out of the blue, Mountain Hardware put some of their coats on sale. So I just on my own recognizance, I bought 4 appropriate red Mountain Hardware shells. These are $600 coats, and they're available to you today for the extremely low price of $195. I have 2 larges and 1 medium left. So if you're interested in these, aren't as heavy duty as the North Face coat, but they're really, really nice coats, and they're kind of long, so they'll be nice on icy days on chairlifts. And then I had put out a couple of emails that we had a I won't say a falling out, but Gauls, the former Blumenthal uniform on Southwest Barber Boulevard, is no longer working on apparel that they don't sell, which is unfortunate. They had done a really good job of sewing our patches on, and they're no longer doing it. So out in a little bit farther out in Tigard, there's a store. I'm sorry, I don't remember the address, but there's a store called Curtis Blue Line that's in the same kind of business as Gauls. They do apparently an even sort of broader clothing selection. And Scott and the folks in the sewing shop said that they're happy to work on our uniforms. So I'm going to try to get out there in the next week or two. I need to get a couple of things worked on. I'll give them all of our uniform templates so that they know what to expect. And they have radio harnesses and stuff like that. So it was nice to have a company, just freely available and willing to step up and do that work for us. If you need any insignia patches, back crosses, shoulder crosses, any of that stuff, we have plenty. Again, contact me in the time being and I can hook you up. And there was one other thing that I completely forgot. There's a couple of questions. I think Jan had her hand up and then Kathy Lee.
Not a question, but a little piece of fun information for everybody. Matchstick Productions, who makes winter recreation films, similar to the Warren Miller ski films, are premiering their winter film for 2022-23 anywhere from here at Cinema 21 on Tuesday, October 18th, 1 week from tomorrow. Because of our affiliation with Snovana, they reached out to us to be their nonprofit partners this year and invited us to be at that movie premiere showing. And to do any fundraising or whatever, we will have 4 individuals, including myself, there to say hi to folks and do some recruiting. And we're working on Next Adventure is going to send us a couple of gift certificates to raffle off at that point also to earn a little bit of money, but I just wanted you all to know about it. Tuesday, October 18th, Cinema 21 on 616 Northwest 21st Avenue in Portland. Doors open at 6:30 and the movie show time is at 7:30. Apparently there will be other raffle items and giveaways there. And I'm presuming these two individuals, Mark Abma and Lucas Walks, are the stars of the movie. They will be signing posters and signing autographs and such. So if you'd like to get yourself all pumped up for the ski season, that might be a fun date night out.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jan.
Yeah.
I regret I can't be there because I'll be in OEC class. Tag and nabbit.
Hey, Matt, no chance of a class trip that night? No?
No, we're going to be knee deep in skills. Sorry.
I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it, darn it. That is a big conflict. That OEC class is far more important.
Kathy Lee.
Hey, so I just wanted to say I am really glad to see the cross section of the patrol represented on this call. As I was scrolling through who's on, I see people who are from brand new apprentices to relatively new patrollers to very senior patrollers. And I did notice we also have in attendance an ex-Mount Hood ski patroller, Nancy Stromswald. And for those of you who don't know her, she was on our patrol, quite some years ago. But was very instrumental in our patrol. In fact, she was a recipient of several of our patrol awards, Patroller of the Year and Hill Captain of the Year, back in the 80s. So I just want to say, hey, hi, Nancy, thanks for attending. And thanks everybody for attending. It's really great to see at least your names and faces. So great way to start the season.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm glad I could log in tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And it seems like, as I'm fond of saying in the OEC class, it's like no plan survives contact with the enemy. You will have seen it in the sweep, but I do want to recognize, since we've got both of them on the call tonight, just do a shout out to Steve Potter as our National Nordic Patroller of the Year, recipient of the Gold Merit Star for that. Again, congratulations, Steve. It's a tremendous, tremendous honor that you bring to us, and to Jim Hamilton for his Yellow Merit Star for his contributions to OEC 6. So it's pretty amazing to have you guys on the call and with us every day. Joel, hand up.
Good job, you guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we have an alumni luncheon coming up the last Tuesday of October at the Portland Yacht Club. It's in the sweep, but and also I sent out an email to everybody, but you don't have to be an alumni to come to the alumni luncheon. Us old timers like to see the new people too, and the active patrollers.
Thank you, Joel. Cleo, what did we miss?
From my perspective, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm not sure if we missed anything. Does anybody have any questions? So there's a lot of council members on right now. Anybody got any questions, comments? I'm still looking for somebody to help with the winter event. Thank you to all of you who do all this work behind the scenes that make this organization function. Council members and other people that step up into leadership positions, thank you very much. Someone said, can we really think about keeping this meeting online? It's nice to meet from home. That's a good question. I know the council meetings, we have been meeting online for 2.5 years now, 2.5+ years. It's much easier for that. General meetings, I don't know, we need to consider that. Maybe we should take that up as a discussion at our next council meeting. If you have strong feelings about wanting to have this meeting in person or online, let council members know, okay?
I'll just chime in. I think if we could arrange it to be a hybrid meeting would be the best thing for those that can't be there, because I do miss getting together in person. I think there's a lot of team building that happens when you're in an area together that doesn't happen on a virtual meeting. So that's my 2 cents on it. I would vote to have general meetings be held where we all get together, and if possible, have it be a hybrid meeting, because I've had a couple of those happen with organizations that I belong to, and they work pretty well, but it's a task to be undertaken.
Sure. Thank you. I've seen several comments in the chat here, and
Cleo, we can, yeah, I agree with everybody. Professionally schizophrenic as always. It is wonderful seeing people in person. I mean, I'm a sales guy, and I sell best when I'm in person. And I have a much better time with everybody in person. I think that obviously the biggest issue for us is venue right now, as Cleo said, whether it's OEC refreshers, whether it's OEC class, wherever it is having a venue big enough. And historically we'd had the general meeting either at like Athey Creek or in particularly in the hospitals, which have been kind of off limits. But I would like to think that because we've got so much connectivity, it would be possible to arrange an online option that we could stream it. As we found out, like during the convention, the streaming options can be ridiculously expensive. But I think if we're just leveraging average Wi-Fi bandwidth, there's no reason that we couldn't do it. So yeah, definitely something to put on our work list.
Kevin, you had your hand up for a minute.
Oh yeah, I looked at all the chats and I almost took it down. Yeah, I agree. Hybrid or at least every other would be a great way, because I think there are enough people who still want to get together, and we could see how it goes. I mean, I'm sure conversation later, but see how it goes with either a hybrid or every other kind of a thing. I know when last time I was in council, we reduced from every month to every other month in person anyway, because it was hard for people to get together. But anyway, good for future conversation.
Matt?
Yeah, just wondering, has the council talked at all about the status of the Bowman Center and use this coming winter? Any restrictions on use, or we open for business this year?
Well, unless someone else is going to correct me, I think that we're open for business as usual. We're the people, the caretakers and the middle trustee are trying to get some cleaning done there. But I think it's open as usual. Just take care of it.
One thing on the calendar regarding Bowman Center that is upcoming is Saturday, November 5th. It is reserved for our host apprentice training day.
Okay.
And that is on the MHSP calendar.
And I think I see Mark Johnson has a hand up, and then Joel.
Yeah, I just like to have a beer with you guys as much as the next guy. But there's a lot, particularly when you go out to the Hill, the opportunities to do that. For the procedural type stuff like this, I'm in favor of having the online option. We have people in Hood River, we have people in Washington, we have people all over Oregon, and for a lot of us, it's about being out there on the Hill and patrolling. And for the meetings and stuff like that, I wouldn't want to be obligated to have to make a travel arrangement or a night of care for my kid or any of those things. So I just think, especially for like actually doing the duty of pulling a sled or like rendering aid, that we preserve the virtual option for people, particularly our folks that are dispersed beyond the greater Portland area.
Thanks for that, Mark. Joel?
Just a comment, the Bowman Center, at one point we were doing dispatch or pre-dispatch for it. At this time, we are not going to. First come, first served. If that doesn't work out well, we can change, but it's worked for a lot of years. So we're going to go back to the show up, put your stuff on the bed and claim your space, pay your money PayPal, and we'll all be happy, I hope.
On the Bowman Center, if you're interested in helping with a little bit of cleanup, if you contact the middle trustee, Margaret Usher, She's trying to put together a small work party to just do some light cleaning up there. We did a really thorough cleaning. There was a whole group of you who went up before the Bowman Center inauguration back last October, November, whenever that was. So a little over a year ago, it was cleaned really well. Carter, you've got your hand up. And Carter is one of the new caretakers for the Bowman Center. Carter?
Yeah, hi there. Mario and I were talking about it at Refresher this weekend. If and when we do have something, it will be probably the 12th, that Saturday of November. And hopefully we can decide on something maybe by the end of this week, and so we can get it out, you know, in the sweep, upcoming, etc.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
Thank you for stepping up for that job. Any other comments for me or any other topics, any other questions for council members? Okay.
We need a raffle. Where's the raffle?
It's kind of hard to get those raffle tickets virtually. I don't know how that works.
I do have some good raffle items when we get there. And I also neglected to mention that if anybody's hard up, I have a fairly broad variety of lightly to moderately used patrol coats and patrol gear. So if somebody's hurting for cash and you need to get into uniform stuff, you can contact me also. Weird assortment of sizes and you know, men's and women's stuff, but it never hurts to ask.
Okay, is there anything else for the good of the order for the meeting? If not, we'll close the meeting, and I'm sure some of you want to stay and chat. Who's actually got the keys for the meeting to open or close the meeting? Courtney? So whenever Courtney wants to go to bed, that's when.
No, I'm gonna pass them on to you, Cleo. How does that sound?
Then what do I have to do to close the door?
You just have to, and you click the red button at the bottom that says end meeting for all. So whenever you're all done, Cleo, the meeting's over for everyone. Otherwise,
All
you're stuck.
All right, thanks.
Or you could just pick it up and go to bed anyway, right? Yeah. You'll be.
Okay,
All right.
Cleo, you're the host now. Have fun.
The meeting is done.
And you can actually lock the door and go home and leave everybody else locked inside, probably.
Yeah. Hey, Cleo.